Have you heard that 95% of all illness is actually stress-related? If we are to believe Stanford University professor Dr. Bruce Lipton, 9 out of 10 times clients who show up with physical symptoms often have some sort of unresolved childhood trauma. The loss of a family member, the relocation to a new country or a new school can even be considered as a trauma. And then, of course, the most obvious, physical abuse, verbal abuse, or sexual abuse. Prior to the work that you're doing with us, you may not have really thought about your symptoms as being connected to something from your past. I'd like to invite you now to map out all of the events that have occurred in your life, both good or bad, that were significant and that made a difference or an impact on the person that you are today. Get a piece of paper and map it out into 3 columns. So the first column will be the event. The second column will be the corresponding emotion. So whether that's fear, anger, jealousy, resentment, feelings of abandonment, joy. Obviously, positive things can go into there too. And then the third column, I want you to map out a corresponding statement that's associated with that emotion linked to that event. For example, if your father left when you were very little, you might write down abandonment or fear. And then your corresponding statement would be, I feel abandoned, or I have never known a father's love. And then I want you to look at how this is playing out in your current life situation and in maybe how it's linked to your current symptoms. You might notice a pattern starting to emerge, and you might begin to see how your past is actually driving your present. This awareness is going to form an integral part of your healing, and we're going to talk about it in our next session. When we're burnt out or stressed or suffering from anxiety, it's important for us to look at all the factors that are playing a part in our lives. The foods that we eat, the company that we're keeping, the childhood traumatic events that we may be linked to, the family situation that we were born into, the work that we're doing, the exercise, the sleep, or the lack thereof, and the amount of time that we dedicate towards pleasurable pursuits. Our modern day lives can demand quite a lot from us, and very often our attachment to devices makes it difficult for us to distinguish that boundary between work and leisure time. So notifications and emails and always being on can leave us in a constant state of fight or flight. And while you're focused on healing, you want to be paying attention to how often you're actually in that state and how quickly you can get back into rest and digest, which is the parasympathetic healing system. So while you're eliminating certain foods, I want you to also think about eliminating stressful interactions with people or stressful events, because we want to give your body the best chance it can to repair itself. Diet and supplements are only going to play a small part of the healing process. So while we're working on reducing the biochemical stressors, I want you to be focused as well on your psychological stressors and how you can reduce those. And one of the best ways to do that is to look at how often you spend time doing things that give you pleasure or joy. We're going to discuss all of this when we meet next, so I hope that's been helpful, and I look forward to seeing you soon.